Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you all. Hey look, I've shaved! Am I pretty? Hello, welcome back to Planet Mithril, and you're expecting a painting tutorial, I'm sure. We have got a painting tutorial in the pipeline for you to be released next week, but as it is indeed Christmas, and we are finally drawing an end to 2021, going into 2022, we thought it would be a really nice idea to take a little look back over some of the models we painted this year and just highlight some of our favourites as a sort of goodbye to 2021 and moving on into 2022. So 2021 has been a really big year for Planet Mithril. We have really hit the ground running with painting tutorials and videos, and we've put so many plans down on paper that are all locked away in our little hard drive somewhere. This is the repository for all things future Mithril. There's a lot of good on there and we're really excited to get it out to you guys. But fortunately now, you're going to have to wait till 2022. Luckily, it's just around the corner, so not long to wait. And as I'm sure is no doubt the case with many hobbyists, we've had many plans that we've also wanted to do, but haven't found the time to finish yet. My desk is littered with models and projects that were half started with every intention on finishing this year. And unfortunately, you know, real life will do what real life does. And they've now been pushed back to next year. Hopefully we're going to be increasing the release schedule, fingers crossed, once things calm down a little bit with work. And we'll be able to hopefully get out maybe 2, maybe even 3 videos a week for you sometime in 2022. Not sure when that'll be yet, but hopefully at some point in 2022 the release schedule will be increased, so you get more modelling content, more gaming content, more everything coming your way. So we're best to start with models from 2021 that we've enjoyed painting than the main staple of Planet Mithril as it is so far, the Middle Earth strategy battle game range of models. But we're going to take a look back and just highlight some of our favourite models from this year that we have painted. Okay, so no favourite model list would be complete without taking a slight delve into my favourite faction in Middle Earth, Gondor and Minas Tirith. What can I say? I'm Mr. Minas Tirith. I love my Gondorians. They are my favourite army to use, and arguably the one I've got the most painted for, which is probably why they're my favourite one to use. One model that we've had on our desk for a number of years, in some form or other, not necessarily its most recent incarnation, because that was only released fairly recently. But one model we've always wanted to get painted up and get painted up well is GANDALF the White, on Shadowfax and on foot. Painting white has always kind of intimidated me a little bit in the past. I've never really delved too much into it because I've always been really worried about messing it up basically, and it not looking as good as I would really like it to look. But upon the release of the new GANDALF the White sculpt that Games Workshop brought out, I threw caution to the wind and thought, let's put some paint to plastic here and see if we can get this looking as good as we can. I must admit, this is one of the models I'm probably the most proud of, and I'm really glad I did take the plunge and paint it up, A, for the channel, and B, for my personal development and skill growth, because now painting white doesn't seem quite so daunting, and I'm really happy that he's tied in with the rest of the army as well with the cobblestone basing, and he's there ready to lead the forces of Minas Tirith against the armies of Mordor. So GANDALF takes probably the #1 spot for our favourite model of 2021 that we have painted. And you can't talk Middle Earth without mentioning the big bad, the Dark Lord Sauron. There he is in all his metallic gory glory. This model is another one that's kind of intimidated me, but not for the same reasons as GANDALF. I've always looked at the model and kind of thought, how do you make this visually interesting? Because it's a lot of very dark, a lot of very bleak and bleary colours. It's greys, it's metals, and the only real spot colour you've got on him is a little bit of gold. And again, thanks to the channel and wanting to get some really cool content out for you guys, I did take the plunge and we got the Dark Lord Sauron done for YouTube, and he's there, as is GANDALF, in tutorial form for you guys to watch and enjoy and hopefully get some good tips and tricks out of. Now we're going to give you a sneaky teaser into the next painting tutorial to come out, or at least one of the next painting tutorials to come out. RAZGUSH and, I forget his name, RAZGUSH and Shaman, Miscellaneous Shaman. The new RAZGUSH and Musgur model. Orcs are not a thing I've done too many on the channel. I think we've only got Grishnak Snagger and Gorbag. We have Gorbag on the channel now. But orcs is definitely something we're very keen to put on the channel a bit more. We've got Morannon orcs and Mordor orcs lined up for early release next year, as they are going to be a mainstay of my GT army. But we wanted to sharpen our teeth a little bit and practice a little bit on this new Fort Worth sculpt, which is coming out hopefully soon from Games Workshop. But we do have RAZGUSH here, who is one of our favourite models from 2021. A very late addition to the list, as he was only painted up in the last few weeks. And just the ability to be able to put loads of different colours on a model and really play around with making it look ragged and orcish and haggard and make him look like the big orcish brute that he is. That was really fun, and again, a real big confidence boost for painting orcs, because it's also something else I haven't really done an awful lot of in the past. So this was a really good chance to delve a little bit more into the orcish side of things and play around with their colour schemes and palettes, and just see if we can perfect the recipe for a big orcish brutish hero. So RAZGUSH makes the list for our favourite models of 2021. Now we're going to move on to a few models that we haven't actually featured on the channel yet. We'll start off with the new Dernhelm model. She is taking up a slot in my Fantasy Fellowship, so I figured, well, now's as good a chance I need to get some paint on her. And we followed the same recipe that we used for the Riders of Rohan and the Rohan Warriors, which are on the channel. And she came out, and she's such a characterful piece, Eowyn in Dernhelm garb. It's an absolutely beautiful sculpt. You can see the rich golds and the khaki greens and the really muted natural tones really complement each other well. So Dernhelm makes our list for favourite models of 2021 as well. Once again, something new that we haven't shown on the channel yet, but something which is also in the pipeline. Now we tend to paint with quite natural colours. We did fairly recently actually paint up a Barrow White, mainly again for the Quest of the Ring Bearer, the Fog on the Barrow scenario. But this was a really fun experiment in using quite ethereal blues and trying to make it look quite ghostly and undead and spectrally, and using quite a lot of pale pastel hues, which was one of the first times we've done that. Exploring different paint palettes, exploring different colour schemes, and really trying to bring the character of the model through in the paint job and the colours we pick. And this was a real big confidence boost for that, especially as, again, they're quite light colours and somewhat hard to work with. And we also used it as a chance to try out our non-metallic metal gold for one of the first times properly on a model like this. We think the overall look on the model really helps tie together with the blue ethereal nature of the Barrow Whites. But yeah, this was a really fun model to paint and really different. The Barrow White does indeed make one of our models of 2021. Now I could sit here for hours and talk about every model that I've painted for Middle Earth recently and every model that I've really enjoyed painting. It's been really hard to kind of cherry pick only 5. But these 5 were probably 5 of the ones that I enjoyed painting the most, and I think have done me the world of good in regard to where I can push my painting on from there, whether it's skills or techniques or colours used or trying new things. But that's why we do this hobby, isn't it? You know, it's the progression, it's the learning, it's the developing of new techniques and pushing yourself in ways you didn't think you could before. And as you get better at certain things, you'll find other things just come naturally. I've been doing this hobby for 20 years, and this was the first model that I ever painted for Lord of the Rings, and there's no better testament to say that just stick at it. If it's something you want to do, make it happen, and always be proud of what you're painting. Never ever let anyone tell you that anything you've painted isn't good, because as long as you're happy with a model, then, you know, as far as you're concerned, the model is perfect. But enough from Middle Earth for this video. We are now going to show off a handful of models from a game system that me and a couple of friends have rather heavily bought into over the course of 2021, and ones that we are so keen to get on the channel because the models are just stunning. But the range of models I'm talking about is Marvel Crisis Protocol, and it is something we have severely bought into over the course of the last year. My poor wallet, I can hear it crying from the other room. But also because we did get hold of a load of Scale 75 paints, which are a completely different type of paint to work with than Games Workshop. They've got much more of a matte finish and require a lot more build-up and blending. So we thought it was a perfect chance to learn how to use these paints on these models. But we're going to start with my crew, my favourite, the Guardians of the Galaxy. We have Star-Lord here, who was the first one we painted up. And as you can see, like there's a lot going on this model. Now, the hardest thing with these models is trying to get a realistic tone to the finished product, whilst also paying homage to the comic book and film style that they are portrayed in. So that was a challenge, and as you can see, we've also tried to push our non-metallic with the mask and the boots as well, with silver and gold. Silver and non-metallic has always been something that I've really struggled with, more than I have gold. Gold I've always found is easier. But Star-Lord is there to kick off our Marvel Crisis Protocol, and will be one of the first Marvel Crisis Protocol tutorials to hit the channel. But Star-Lord makes the list for the first Marvel Crisis Protocol model of 2021 that we thoroughly enjoy painting, and is one of our favourite sculpts overall. And we can't talk Star-Lord without talking about the rest of the Guardians, and I'm not going to go through each one in depth. I am just going to show them off on the screen. Obviously you've got GAMORA, who was again another exercise in white painting with all the plate armor. We layered this one up from a grey to a white rather than a beigey, almost khaki white to a white as we did with Gandalf. And again, you've got all the rich reds and the greens, as you have with Drax as well, who has got very defined body musculature and definition in the way he is posed. And you've got all the very bright, vibrant green of the skin and the red markings all over him, which was also quite fun to try and nail down. And then you have, of course, Rocket, who is here sporting his big old Hadron Enforcer, which just gets me every time. Rocket is probably one of my favourite characters, if not my favourite character in the MCU. There, again, we have tried to experiment with blending in fur and creating definition across a flat fur surface with multiple layers and highlights there. And of course, finally, Groot as well, who was... Groot was tough to do. Groot wasn't an easy model to paint. There's a lot of bark on this model, and ultimately it's quite a boring model to paint. Now, it's not a detriment to the model or to the sculpt at all, but it's all bark. There's only so far you can really go with bark. With the spot highlights in there as well, with the fireflies in and amongst his bark and his skin. But Groot is one of those models that I don't think suffers from having quite a muted and quite almost a simplistic colour palette, because the way the model is designed and the way it looks, and if you highlight it up right and layer it up properly, blend everything in, it looks very natural and looks like it's actually a tree on a base, which was something else that we were excited to explore. And finally, we're going to go on to probably what is going to be the last model of 2021 I actually get around to painting, and we finished this the other day, and I tell you what, I have had no harder task painting a model as I have this one, but that is our favourite symbiote, Carnage. Now, Carnage was a task. Carnage hurt my brain to paint. If you look at the model as it's featured up here, you can see it's got all the black tendrils that come all over his body. We had to paint on the red base coat all over the model, and then when we started layering up and highlighting up the skin, we had to work in every single individual piece of flesh in between those black markings. We couldn't layer up over the black because we would start to lose definition, and then we would potentially lose the black markings overall when we came to painting over them. And that's before you even get to the big tendrils coming over his back. There's a lot on this model. And then, of course, painting in the black markings themselves and then realising that, we made this too dark. Now it's time to highlight this. It was an ordeal. My eye, I'll tell you what, I was seeing 3 or 4 Carnages by the time I'd finished because my eyes were so out of focus. But this is probably the Marvel Crisis model I'm proudest of, mainly because, as I say, my attention span is very, very small. So to be able to kind of realign myself and go, no, you started, you get this finished, he's going to look awesome when he's done, and he's come out really, really well. And this is probably the one I'm arguably the most proud of doing from the Marvel Crisis range. It was Star-Lord because the coat came out really well, but since finishing Carnage, I'm so proud, and it's given me a real confidence boost to go forward and paint some of the other ones that we've got on the desk going into 2022. So we have a very brief wrap up of some of the favourite models we've painted this year. It's by no means the only models that I've enjoyed painting. There have been multiple others, but I cannot make a 2-hour video exploring every single model that we have painted this year. We just had to cherry pick a few, and we're just excited to do a little bit of a wrap up and explore the progress of 2021 with you guys as we go off into 2022. We have got so much exciting content for you guys. In front of me now, I can list off, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku, Luke Skywalker, and Emperor Palpatine ready for Star Wars Legion. B2 battle droids are coming as well. We've got more Marvel Crisis. We've got Nebula, Hawkeye, Blade, Angela, just to name but a few that are on the desk currently, as well as Hulkbuster. And of course, we're going to keep coming with the Lord of the Rings content thick and fast. We've got Ring Wraiths, we've got Shagrat, we've got Durin and Mardin, Khazad-Guard, Watchers of Karnor, Black Numenorians, so much stuff to come out, and that's not even scratching the tip of the iceberg. So that is all to come on the channel, hopefully in 2022. And again, just to say another massive thank you from me to all you guys who continue to watch and support the channel. This started during the first lockdowns as a little bit of a pet project, and we never thought it would gain the momentum it's gained to this date, and that's because of you guys. Like the sheer fact that you guys are watching the videos and enjoying the videos and commenting and interacting with, and just hopefully enjoying what we're putting out. Like, we wouldn't be at this point that we are now with over 2k subs if it wasn't for you guys. So a massive thank you from me, from my heart, to you guys for sticking with us and supporting the channel as it continues to grow and go forwards. So really, thank you so much. But that's enough waffle from me. I hope you guys have had a lovely year. I hope all of you have an absolutely amazing Christmas. Eat lots, be merry. Food comas are a thing. Embrace the food babies when they come, because pigs in blankets are a weakness of mine, I know that for sure. Hope everyone gets to spend time with their families and has an absolutely amazing Christmas. We'll try and get a couple of videos out between now and Christmas. I'm not sure the Week of Madness is going to happen, unfortunately, mainly down to, again, time constraints. We'll see. We'll try and get a couple of videos out between now and the new year. But until then, I want to wish you very happy holidays. All of you, please take care, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. Bye.